Hello. I'm very annoyed right now, but that's okay. Actually, on my way to have breakfast with this very inspirational person. That's always nice to connect with someone like that, in their presence, to soak in what's in their field, you could say. Hopefully I can soak in some good stuff from this person. Fuck. Survival fear is coming up like a motherfucker. But it's cool because circumstances, which are getting a little intense for the body, it's helped me see how attached I am to the flesh, how afraid of death I am, because any fear underneath it, like all the fears, if you just go right to the source of it, it's always that fear of death at the very bottom of it. So it's beautiful. The intelligence of life is helping me to face that fear. And it's helping me to really connect with my solar plexus and my hara. It's the seat of our power. And it's just helping me to see how many choices I make because of my fears. And I make them, how much I still compromise on my truth for safety, for the illusion of safety anyways. And how life actually just isn't letting me do that anymore. I'll give you an example. There's this friend, and it's time for, it was like a learning lesson connection. I probably talked about it some. It was very confusing for me and painful. But ultimately, I saw a Victor Otto video. I hadn't watched one in a long time. And he made this video about, like, years, a long time since I've really watched a Victor Otto video. And one just popped up on my feed, and it was about learning lesson relationships versus soul lesson relationships. And he said the key difference in a soul relationship, soulmate relationship, that things get resolved and you don't keep doing the same loop over and over again. Whereas in a learning lesson relationship, you just kind of keep doing the same pattern and the same loop. And that actually the biggest growth that comes from a learning lesson relationship is realizing that you're doing that and then letting go of that connection or reshaping it if that's to something that's more aligned or whatever. And I just watched that video, and I already knew in my heart that what I was experiencing was a learning lesson relationship, which are amazing and impactful and help you grow so much, and no regrets. It was totally good for me, and it helped me really see where I cling to safety and where I don't trust God, and where I do have all these fears of survival and lack and shit like that. So it was totally valuable and amazing and divine, but ultimately it was a learning lesson relationship. And so this person, they, to give you the example of what happened, they had told me that I could use their car while they were away in Europe, and I would pay them like a monthly payment. And it would work out great for them because they wouldn't have to pay to store it or worry about it or anything. And it just was this thing that seemed like a great exchange, right? And so I was like really happy about that. I was like, cool, I get a car again. That's gonna make my life so much easier. And so that felt really good. And then this morning I woke up to some messages stating basically how that just wasn't in alignment for them because they don't want to be karmically entangled with this connection anymore, because she has also realized that this is a learning lesson relationship. And when I read those texts, of course there was initially that that feeling, that gut feeling, like, oh gosh. But, pretty much immediately, I also simultaneously was feeling like, that I could feel how it was the truth, like how it was best for both of us, just to cut the ties real clean, and really go our own ways, because there is that tendency in both of us that we may repeat the same pattern. We may get entangled again in that same learning lesson pattern that I feel like we've squeezed everything we can out of. I don't feel like there's a reason we need to do the same loop again. I really don't. And I think she felt that intuitively as well. And she was really sorry, but I got it. And so that's the example I'm giving, how life is really forcing me to face these fears of survival. Like, so not having a car when I was counting on having one, it just like brings up a lot. Like, oh shit, now I'm really out here. Really in free fall mode, really trusting source. And it was actually really liberating today as I worked through the feelings of it. And I got to this place where I felt so much freer. And because I felt like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna go with my truth in every moment. I'm done compromising it all. I'm done living to try to be safe. I'm willing to lose it all for God. I'm willing to lose it all for whatever this path has in store for me. Whatever happens. Just no more compromising. It's fine, really actually looking at my own death more. And just my attachments, like I said, to this body. I'm not saying to not take care of your body and to do it. Like, look at me, I'm taking care of my body. I'm leaving this Airbnb early because it just sucks. Because I'm not, I booked this Airbnb from the place of safety, from the practical, logical mind. I just booked it based on price. I'll look at an Airbnb and I'll feel into it intuitively and I'll just get a sense if it's right for me or not. I didn't do that on this Airbnb, and I booked it for 2 nights. And because I went with the practical mind trying to save money, instead of moving through this with an intuitive mind, with my intuitive abilities, I'm actually losing money. It's kind of funny and ironic, and just another lesson. And it was super cheap, so it's not like I'm losing that much. But yeah, I want to go to a place where my nervous system feels more relaxed. And so from now on, I'm just going to go with what intuitively feels the best, rather than listening to that lack-filled, fear-based pattern of you can only afford this. And sure, we want to be wise, but I don't know. That's just where I'm at, seeing all this stuff coming up and where I still listen to these voices. But I'm headed to this breakfast with this awesome, spiritual, awakened person who is very empowered. And so maybe this will be a nice reflection, of someone who's free. And yeah, that's it. Hello. Some lovely people walking. Yeah, I think the takeaway here is just really letting go into grace. Really letting go of any egoic control over my life. Like the stuff that was still there. That still had the illusion it was controlling this whole thing. And it feels really good and liberating and lighter, honestly. It's just like, okay, I'm done worrying about money. I'm done worrying about all this shit. Like, I'm just gonna let grace guide me in every moment and just trust. Just trust that I'm surrendering into something good, into something that loves me in a very personal way. And that these circumstances are just being orchestrated to really lift some beliefs and heavier energies out of my body, to really help me untangle from the egoic attachments that I still have, that are keeping me small, that are keeping me playing it safe, that are keeping me in connections that I shouldn't be in, that I'm only in for that feeling of safety, and showing me like how codependent I can still be. And it's great. Community, connection, all these things are wonderful. I feel called to say that. But if we're just in a connection because it's providing us this feeling of safety, and our truth is telling us that the connection is just a learning lesson connection, but we're not listening to that because we're too afraid to let go, because our mind tells us all these things might happen, that's probably a relationship that it's time to let go of, And me and this learning lesson connection, I think we've both been feeling that for a while, but it's been like taking us right to the edge of our fears because we've both been afraid to let go and face our fears. But it gets so painful. The realization becomes so strong that eventually we both just had to like let go. And so not getting the car is just like a clean break from all of that karmic stuff, that pattern. And I do feel lighter, even though resource-wise it's a little thin right now, to say the least. I feel really light and good, happy, connect to my heart. Now it's time. Now it's like connecting to the hara, to the solar plexus, like really allowing my power to wake up. And it's like when that power wakes up, then we feel this sense of assurance, no matter what the circumstances are. I'll leave you with the beautiful quote, like, circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. And your state of being is determined by how you respond to your circumstances. That is a quote by Bashar. Very powerful quote. I felt that in my body so many times, like circumstances don't matter. What matters is being connected to your power. Being connected to your divine nature. And that's all life is trying to do for any of us, is help us do that more. That's what's happening to me. I feel so much more connected to that. Even because of all these circumstances, it's like cornering me. It's like the only thing I have to grab onto now is the power within me, is the divine within me. So much love. Stay strong. Keep walking forward. Keep trusting. You are being guided. You are being held. Namaste.